Are you ready?
Fire in the hole.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is the Jon Peckman podcast. My name is Jon Peckman, coming to you from the podcast studio of Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance, beautiful downtown Portland, Connecticut. Come over the bridge, start looking left. Hi-hats. We are here with a new friend, Mr. Joe Martin. I don't know much about Mr. Martin, but he's here. He plays bass guitar. He's going to tell us about his life. You're from?
From Middletown.
Yes, sir. Middletown. Over the river. So tell us how you got started in music. How did this all begin?
Friends from Portland. Basically, my friend Darren got me my first bass guitar. I didn't have any musical ability. I wasn't really interested in music.
Wow.
Just was fooling around with it, and it just went on from there.
What year would this have been?
I'd say 81-ish.
Oh, wow.
81. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how old were you?
How old was I then?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like a kid?
Yeah, I was a kid.
Wow.
I'm 53 now. I'm not good with math, so
yeah.
I was.
That's all right. I am not either. I don't know. Yeah, who knows? I'll have to get do you have an abacus available to calculate? All right. Who knows? So you just were like, all right, sure, I'll give this a try. They needed a bass player.
Well, and not even that. There wasn't even a band. It was
really.
It was just fooling around with it, and all I did was just try to make noise with it and
Sure.
make the noise match up with the noise that was coming out of the radio. And
Wow.
a lot of it, like AC/DC stuff
Sure.
like that back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes it would sync up, and I'd
like,
have
oh, hey.
have a little light bulb moment.
Like, that's the right
It's
note.
kind of like playing Super Mario Brothers, and
Sure.
just kept spending my time doing that.
Wow. And then so then what happened? So you're in your room, you're figuring things out, you're playing, you're figuring it out for yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
And did you ever take lessons?
I took one lesson, but that was later on.
Okay.
And that was just my friend Steve Blackmore, Steve Kaczynski. He was in Steel Prophet. He's still in Steel Prophet.
Maybe. Yeah.
He came over and taught me how to. He was a guitar teacher.
Okay.
He can be seen walking up and down Main Street back then.
Okay.
Any time of the day, you'd see Steve, long hair, probably one of the coolest guys. We knew back then.
Yeah, yeah.
And he came over and taught me. I think it was Flight of Icarus. It might have been some Iron Maiden song.
Okay, so metal, that was your way in?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
right. So I don't even know that.
Yeah. Total metalhead.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that was probably a little bit later, actually. That's maybe a year later.
Okay.
But once I got the bass and I started fooling around with it, and I started being able to figure out where some notes were, or at least find them to play a song or learn a song. Then I got hooked up with my friend Greg, who is in Mixed Signals now.
Okay.
So this is 1982.
Oh, wow. You guys have been playing together a long time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we've known each other for a long time.
Okay.
So we played together in his barn. Darren, who got me my bass, was there. He also played bass. So
okay.
there were two bass players.
What kind of bass was it?
Oh, there was no name.
And nothing.
There was no name. It was like a Grand Prix or something.
Yeah, yeah.
So then that band, well, the coolest thing was our first song that we ever played together as a group, at that point it became a group, was Stairway to Heaven.
Oh, of course.
So
Sure.
we jammed on that a little bit, obviously the easy parts.
Yeah, right.
And then that band split up into two different bands.
Okay.
Because you don't need two bass players. And, and I met Bill Deckelman, who is also from up the road.
Yeah.
And Dave knows him.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically his family is where I did most of my learning early on, where they said basically anybody that wants to come here and play music
Yeah.
can do it whenever they want.
That's cool.
And they gave us the best, constructive criticism. They were never negative.
Cool.
That was where I spent most of the years where, you're learning stuff like really quickly.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Early on, because you're just soaking it all in.
Yep.
And you're able to start playing the songs like the real musicians.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's wild.
That was where that, took off from there.
Cool. Wow. That's wild. And then what happened next? How did it progress? So this is probably through high school, I would imagine.
Yeah, that was high school.
Okay.
Then we had a drummer, John Morello. He's from Cromwell.
Sure,
And
yep.
he played with us.
Mhm.
And then he and I went on to play with, I think just about then we were Blue Saraceno. It was
Okay.
It was the three of us, and then we had a singer, and we were just doing a talent show. And Blues was actually, I think he was 15. He didn't have his license yet.
Wow.
Yeah, we were doing, this was really early. We were doing like David Lee Roth, Eat 'em and Smile stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like 15 years old, and he's playing Eruption just to warm up.
Yeah, right.
Like
Yeah.
note for note Eruption.
Sure. Yep. What's he up to? Do you know?
He's out. He's if you turn on your TV, chances are you can hear one of his jingles or songs.
Oh, really?
I mean,
Cool.
he does soundtracks for like, I think, Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, wow.
Big,
that's cool.
big shows, commercials.
Nice.
Yeah, he's done pretty well.
Nice. Yeah. Why not? Yeah, I remember back in the day hearing that name a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool.
Killer player.
Awesome. So then was music your vocation
No.
after high school?
No, I went to school for design drafting,
Okay.
structural engineering. I wanted to, at that point, I wasn't really even playing out.
Oh, wow.
I was just like, still
doing your thing.
spinning my wheels and just
Yep.
like, hey, I'm a cool bass player, I'm just sitting in my room playing songs. And once in a while you get together with friends and jam out.
Cool.
And then John, the drummer,
Mm-hmm.
that he convinced me to join Ipso Facto, which was a band that was actually playing out.
I see.
And that was my first step where I'm like, okay,
Wow.
I can do this in front of people and make a little bit of money.
Was it different?
Oh yeah, because it was an R&B band,
Okay.
and I had to really bite the bullet. I was a total metalhead, Iron Maiden, stuff like that. And to switch to R&B, I was like, well, I don't know if I can play that kind of stuff. And then once I did it,
Yeah, right.
I was like, oh, well, this is where all the fun bass is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow, that's wild. So anybody of note? So it was John Morello. Who else was in that band?
Yeah, Al McKelvey,
Okay.
Stacy Thompson. There was Beth Lovejoy was on keyboards.
Okay.
And then Bob Tomasone was singing. He's from Cromwell.
Okay.
And
And so what'd you guys play? Just around?
yeah. We did a lot of Russian lady gigs.
Sure. Up the fire escape.
Oh, that fire escape. I'm traumatized
Right?
from the fire escape.
I am too. Yeah.
You should hear what happened to me in the fire escape.
Tell us.
At the end of a gig, you've a Thursday night, you're talking, place was mobbed.
Yeah.
So you've got these big 50-gallon garbages
Sure.
where everybody throws their cup.
Right.
So there's always ice and junk,
Sure.
all kinds of liquid in the
Yep.
cup. So at the end of by the time that's filled up, you've got quite a bit of liquid on the bottom of that bag.
Sure.
So we're carrying our equipment down at the end of the night, and I'm down on one of the lower
Wait,
levels.
can I interrupt? I have to. For those of people who don't know, the Russian Lady was a bar in Hartford. I don't know what it is now, but bands, for some reason, if you got a band gig out there, you would be on the third floor.
Yeah.
And you would have to go
From the back, it was the third floor. Yeah.
from the back. From the back, it was the third floor, just to make it worse.
Yeah.
Right. It'd be second floor if you walked in the front door.
Right.
But you go around back, it's on a hill. So we would have to load all our gear up 3 flights of a fire escape
Yeah.
to play a gig and be ignored.
Right.
Right. Okay. So anyway, go ahead.
So
So put that in your mind.
so I'm down below on one of the lower levels carrying my amp,
Oh no.
and the dude that carries the garbage out ties up the bag, and he brings it out to the upper level. And it was the sharp grating, metal grating.
Sure.
And he must have like ripped the bag as it dragged on the grating, and it all rained down on me.
Oh.
And I still remember the horror,
Yeah.
knowing exactly what was
Cigarette,
raining down.
ash, water.
It was horrible. It was like, and I'm kind of a germaphobe, and I almost
That's
wanna
immersion
think
therapy
that
right
there was like one thing that like totally set it off.
Oh, yeah, that's
Insane.
horrible.
Insane.
Yeah, I wouldn't forget that either. I'm not even particularly a germaphobe, but that does not sound like fun. that does not sound like fun. I played. I have a Russian Lady fire escape story. I was playing with this dude. I don't think I should say his name. It's because I don't know how he would feel about me telling this story. But God bless him. But he never. I don't know how you are, but I'm crazy like this. I know how to pack my vehicle the same way every time, or else it doesn't fit. And he never got his pack together. And this was back in the day. We would all go to the gig together. He had a pickup truck with a cap on it. And it was freezing, like freezing cold. and he had like a fold up kind of stand to put your Fender Twin, get it up off the ground. It was like a little fold up little thing. And we were standing there. It was me and his wife were in the band. We were a 3-piece, and we were standing there waiting for him, like freezing, standing there like this. And it's the last thing he has to put in the truck is this thing. And he's like this, trying to put it in. And suddenly he looks, and there's the dumpster right there. And he just goes, boom, throws in the dumpster and goes, let's go.
Well, you were probably going to do that next.
Yeah.
If he didn't
but he just was, probably did the math in his head and goes, yeah, it's probably $23. I just, boom, next, let's go. And that was it. And that was like probably more than 30 years ago. I could probably talk to him right now and tell him that story. He'd go, oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
It was, the Russian lady will do that to you.
Yeah.
Do that to you.
And it's funny how stuff like that sticks out. You'll have one little experience, but other times you want to try to remember certain things. You can't remember anything. That one little thing just.
You
like
remember the ripped garbage bag at the Russian lady.
Yeah.
Oh, the worst. I can remember hauling a B3 up that trash. And Dave Kuzminski hauling a B3 organ, which is how many? What would you say that is? About 800 pounds up the 3 flights of fire escape. Why didn't they just have the band on the first floor? Because who cares, right? You know what I mean? Yeah, why accommodate the band? Just, Yeah, and then they're like, oh, hey, great news. We opened a rooftop stage. Right. You go 4 floors.
And bands were excited to play on the roof.
You know what? Yeah, no, we did. We did it. So how long did you do that band?
That's fuzzy. I think about a year and a half.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, about a year and a half.
All right. And you were like, okay, now I know what that's like.
Yeah, the band sort of self-destructed.
Okay.
So it wasn't really a decision. It was just like everything just.
I got you. Yeah. Where else did you play around? What was the circuit?
Band? Yeah. The Winstead. I mean, like we were like all over the place. Yep. The Russian Lady was like the coolest place around here. Mm-hmm. For some reason, I can't really think of too many of the other places that we played. Billy Ray's in Winstead.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
And I remember that because we ripped their awning one night with our sound guy's truck ripped their awning.
Oh, nice.
So none of us got paid.
Oh, great. Awesome. Fantastic. Man, I tell you, the more I do, maybe we shouldn't tell gig stories because this Jon Peckman podcast is going to turn into a cautionary tale of like, let me tell you everything that can go wrong. But yeah, that happens.
Yeah, you're going to scare people away from music.
Well, whatever. So then what? Is there a then what?
Yeah, then I can't remember what comes right after that. I think I played with a bunch of different groups right after that.
Did you stick with the R&B?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
R&B, disco even.
Mm-hmm.
I never went back. Well, I joined a band called Shameless, and we wrote originals, and they were kind of like,
I remember Shameless.
Almost like hard rock, glam rock. Not really glam rock enough to say it was glam rock,
sure,
but kind of on the border.
Yep.
We wrote originals, so that kind of made it little easier to handle.
That's cool.
And that was fun. We did that for a while, and we played some cool gigs, and then back with my old friend John Morello with Gary and the Mood Swingers. And I went right to blues and R&B, like hardcore. Oh, like
wow. I didn't
aggressive.
I know. I used to play with Gary when I was in high school.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, Gary's great. I learned in that 2 years I was in that band, I probably learned more in that 2-year period than I've learned gigging with any other band.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it was great.
With Gary. It's interesting. Yeah.
Played a lot of good shows. Opened up for people at Toad's Place.
Sure.
Played New York City.
Yep.
Did the whole, the aggressive blues thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a lot of fun, but it was a lot of work. And that 2 years of that, and then the last straw was I think we played a.
Gary got a gig at the Russian Lady. Hey, great, great news, guys.
we did I think it was a Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday wedding during the day.
Sure.
Saturday night gig.
Sure.
Sunday wedding during the day.
Sure.
Sunday night gig.
Yikes.
Monday night in New York City.
Ooh.
Came home from that gig, didn't even have time to take a shower, went right to work.
Oof.
And that's when I was like, you know what?
Yeah,
I can't, can't do this anymore because I'm working. I'm working, full time.
Right. Yeah. That's too crazy.
It was hard, but it was hard to leave such a high energy, good band.
But it wasn't quite. You couldn't just do that at that point.
No.
Because you're like an adult by now.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, bands weren't making. We were $60 a gig.
Yeah.
And
I hear you.
at the end of the week, how many nights can you play and make enough?
Right. And like we always seem to have the same conversation, guys that are about my age. You get to the point where I feel like when you start to count the cost, that's when you know you're done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because in the old days, you would do it for free.
Right.
And not even think about it. Just be like, yeah, sure, where's the gig? Whatever. Oh, this is a bonus. And then when you start thinking about like, how much am I getting paid for how much? And then
that's when you know you're thinking of it like a job. And when you think of it like a job, then you're done. And
I kind of think so.
It's only a matter of time before you're just like, that's it. I can't just.
I kind of think so. Yeah. It's a sad realization. I kind of hung in probably longer than maybe I should have, but whatever. I didn't have the day job, so to speak. So I had to kind of tough it out, but I hear you. Yeah, you get to the point where you're like, I'd rather be home sleeping,
right?
Than doing this gig.
Yeah.
So what's your status now?
Now I'm playing with mixed signals.
Okay.
And so like obviously because of COVID, we were
right.
Our schedule's like next to nothing.
Sure.
And we had almost a year off. We did a couple outdoor things at my place, and we did live streams and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
how long has that band been going? When did you form
10
it?
years this year.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
okay.
we started in 2010.
That's cool.
So this is really the only band that so far I haven't had any pre-gig dread. Like I'm like, I can't wait to get to the gig. I can't wait to play it.
Wow. What's that like?
At the end of the gig, I'm disappointed that we're playing our last song.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I think everybody, I think everybody in the band feels the same way. It's really,
that's great.
We're having fun.
That's a good place to be.
Yeah.
Wow. I guess that's how it's supposed to be, right?
Right.
Wow, that's cool. What kind of stuff you guys do?
Well, we do covers, but we do them in our own style. So we'll do like Steve Miller. We'll do Beatles. Some songs we play straight. Some songs need to be played straight. But for the most part, we totally change everything. I change almost every bass line that I play,
really,
to match my feel and style. And I think that's important. That's why I'm enjoying it.
Right.
And that's why I'm enjoying playing covers, because I feel like I'm doing originals in my own style, even though it's somebody else's song.
Yeah, I had a band like that too. Yeah, it's cool.
And you could stretch things out. You can change the arrangements. You could just totally screw around with it. And nobody really even, they feel like they're getting almost like a, an original experience.
I know the feeling. Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. So you guys are trying to ramp up again?
Yeah. We're not rushing into it though.
Yeah.
It's almost like, I hate to say that we almost might have enjoyed a little bit of the rest.
Yeah.
Even though we weren't playing out that much, it's like now, it's like we're a little more tired maybe. And I don't know.
I know. I hear you. I'm kind of there too. We all are like kind of getting back to your regular life, and you're like, oh boy, I remember what this is like. Kind of dragging yourself through everything. Yeah.
So now we'll do a gig every, we played our first gig back over at Jerry's.
Okay.
And that was great. We looked forward to that. And then now we'll have a little space between that gig and our next gig.
Nice.
And then we do our Durham Fair every year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it's like we're taking it easy. It's like I'm not trying to rush anything, not trying to fill up any weekends.
Yeah. That's okay. So I would imagine everybody's like an adult.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't need to.
And the wives are happy, with the, the summer not being filled up.
Yeah. Right. Oh, that's cool. That's pretty wild. Who are some of your bass heroes, would you say?
Well, Steve Harris. I have to say Steve Harris.
Yeah, right.
Just because he's
Iron Maiden.
If I wasn't, I think if I wasn't really playing Iron Maiden and Steve Harris, I just wouldn't have the.
Right.
So there was something about Iron Maiden that made me excited. Back then, there really weren't a lot of metal bands that had good bass players.
Yeah, right.
You had bands like obviously Black Sabbath. Geezer Butler was a good bass player, but he didn't stand out. like
I know
Steve
what
Harris
you mean.
did.
Yeah.
And something about that attracted me, and I just was like all about Steve Harris.
Sure.
So like, even though I'm not like, I don't buy their albums now, I'll still say he's my favorite bass player, and I'll still say Iron Maiden my favorite band. And
that's cool.
I've only listened to like maybe a third of their albums.
Yeah, right. They're in the Hall of Fame this year. Is that right?
I think
so.
they're nominated, but I don't know.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
They didn't make it. Yeah,
Right.
that's whatever.
Yeah, I stopped paying attention to that stuff. It's like you could fight all day who
I know,
should be
I
and
know,
who shouldn't be in.
I know.
It's almost like it's a big ad.
Yeah. The only reason that I even paid any attention to it, like my favorite band when I was a kid that fired me up was Cheap Trick.
Yep.
That's my band.
Yeah.
And they got in, and that's when I cared, and I actually went to see the thing. And now I don't care who's in this year.
Yeah.
But I do recall there was some sort of controversy because it was like Iron Maiden was nominated and didn't make it. It's just like, why not?
Out of all bands, like
yeah,
they should be in. There are lots of bands that, I mean, it's all based on opinion, but
sure,
there are lots of bands that haven't been around that long who get in, and I think that's almost like just a sales thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's cool when your band gets in and you can go, oh, hey, man, Cheap Trick made it to the rock, and then big deal. It's not like it means that they're any better than you knew that they were or anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess Iron Maiden's day will come.
Yeah. I mean, even if it doesn't, I mean, it's kind of weird that a band could be still filling, stadiums.
I know.
It's like
everything's weird.
Yeah.
Just the way it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I mean, so you're doing your thing, kind of enjoying it more than you used to.
Yeah. Having a blast.
That's pretty cool. That's cool. All right. Yeah. What else you want to talk about?
I don't know. I mean, since you're a drummer,
sure.
I'm sure we have lots in common that we like and dislike about playing, and different types of drummers, different types of bass players.
Yeah.
Field players and some players that are overrated who are very popular because they could play the chops, but they might not have the feel of somebody who could even be very simple. Stuff like that.
Yeah. No. I'm burning up, but I'm not gonna. I don't want to name names.
This is going to turn into that type of thing.
Well, I don't know. Who cares about my stupid opinion? But but yeah, I agree with you. But I mean, you know how it is. I don't know how. I don't want to say the lay person because that sounds kind of pompous, but I don't know what people really respond to. Like just regular people when they hear music, obviously they're going to be impressed with flash.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're going to notice. And they're maybe not going to notice, or I don't think people realize how hard it is to play in an ensemble. And a lot of times that's stuff that if you're just casually listening, you wouldn't notice.
Right.
But you take out that individual out of the band and it's just not going to happen.
Right.
And those are kind of the guys I like, but whatever.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you get a group of guys. A lot of people don't realize how hard it is to get 4 or 5 players so in sync. Like, it's one thing to play all at the same time and hit the notes at the right time, but for them to be so in sync that the feel is just, it's almost like there's like an ESP that goes on with the members while they're playing. You know each other so well that like you almost know exactly what. I'll play a gig and we'll just jam. It'll just go into like an improv, and I'll notice I'm doing the same fill that the drummer does, and it's like it's a totally random thing. Yeah, and it's like, how does that happen?
Yeah, I guess it just happens. Like,
and who's leading? It's like who decided that that's the fill that's going to be played?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It does happen. Yeah, you got to play together a lot to have stuff like that happen.
Yeah.
What is that?
I put mine on Do Not Disturb. Now, I don't know why it's ringing, so that's mine.
Who cares?
So
it's probably Lancia.
It probably is. Oh, it's Mackenzie.
Anyway. Yeah, I hear you. Hey, here's one. Do you do this? Don't do this if you do that. Here's a pet peeve from a drummer, what bass players do. Sometimes when you play, what drives me nuts is this. When you hit boom, 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 and you slap the muted string against the pickup where my snare goes.
Oh, you will hate me.
Really?
You will hate me so much.
You do that?
I'm the most percussive bass player you'll ever play with. I'm playing drums on the bass. Yeah, you totally hate me. We can't play together.
Yeah, no. Oh, well, nice meeting you.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, there was a dude I used to play with, I was all the time. I'd be like, dude, I got the snare drum part.
Yeah.
I got it.
It's a habit. And
Yeah, I know.
It's a locking in thing too. Like, if I'm not doing that, I don't know if I can, I mean, I probably can, but it's just something that happens.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. Sorry. So I got to go now, I guess.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, I thought you were going to say, oh, yeah, no, I know. Oh,
no, sorry. I'm very percussive. And I think that's because I like drums. I think more than bass. I listen to the drums when I listen to a song more than I listen to the bass. Even though the bass is obviously important, but I'm always playing drums. I'm tapping on something. My legs are always going.
Sure.
I have a drum beat in my head all the time.
Mm.
So when I'm playing, I have to constantly do a percussive thing.
That's cool.
So
yeah, don't do that. No,
so I'll try not to do it.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, ready? Okay. I always say they're wacky questions, but there's only one wacky question. Do you know what these questions are? The way I usually kind of steer it at this point. Did you listen this far?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Desert Island album. If you could pick one or several that you could only listen to for the rest of your life, could you make such a choice?
I could pick one, but I'd rather pick like three.
That's fine.
Yeah, but if I picked one, it would be Angel Dust by Faith No More.
Oh,
yeah. I always go back and I'm the type of guy that keeps having to make lists.
Sure.
So like I'll sit down and just say, okay, I have to pick my 5 favorite albums.
Yep.
And then the next day I'll look at them like, what the hell was I thinking?
Oh yeah.
You know, so there's that. I see now I'm going to draw a blank. So I'm going to leave it at that.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
okay. Any just
Ghost Reveries from Opeth.
Okay.
I love that whole album.
Nice. Okay. I don't know that.
I do like one of the silly albums that like I'll get made fun of is Sting's 10 Summoner's Tales.
Sure.
I'm not even a huge Sting fan. That album is like it's like one of the albums that like I could listen to from beginning to end.
Sure.
Just because of who's on it and the musicianship.
Yep.
And the sound quality is just like incredible through headphones.
It's a good record.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I hear you. You know, I grew up a big Police fan, so I followed Sting for a while.
Yeah.
You know?
He's really an underrated bass player. I mean, I know a lot of people think he's great, but as bass players go, like he really is.
Cool.
He's got such a great feel.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. And it took me a while to realize that.
Mm. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I haven't really listened in that way for a while, you know, to his bass playing.
And I don't think he slaps the string and makes that snare thing.
Right. Lately, whenever I see him, he's just kind of like thumb.
Oh yeah, he'll do a thumb mute, and he's got a lot of techniques.
It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that's that. What are the other questions apart from the obvious one? Yeah, I know that's the obvious one. All right. So I don't know why I find this fascinating. I just do. Is there any point in your life or in your day or in your week where you're eating something and you think to yourself, I'd be cool with having this every day? What would that food be?
Well, all right. So I have to pick 2 things because my wife's sauce. We're Italian. We've all, our generations have, cultivated this. It gets better and better all the time. And her sauce, but we stopped eating pasta so much. So we're not, making the sauce we used to. So a Moe's stack. That's the thing that after I ate a Moe's stack, I say I could eat this all the time.
I don't think I've ever had one. I had Moe's yesterday.
It's great.
But not the stack.
Yeah. Beans.
Are we actually going to talk about Moe's food right now? What is the stack?
It's got beans and rice in it. Anything you want to put in it.
And what makes it the stack?
They have the I don't even know, the tortilla.
Yeah.
And then they put a crunchy round
I got it.
nacho whatever, and then they put the stuff on it. And they put cheese on it and it melts. And I don't get queso. I can't stand queso.
Yeah.
Or guacamole. I can't stand guacamole.
No.
I'm the only guy.
No, I could take it or leave it.
But after eating one of those, I usually say I could just eat this for the rest of my life.
Hey, that's cool.
And I don't eat it that often, but
right.
once in a while.
That's an answer. Yeah. Wow, Moe's. Yeah. And then, oh yeah, your wife's sauce. Yeah, I know what you mean. My sister has my grandmother's, who was Italian's, recipe.
Yeah.
So when she makes sauce, she's like, "Hey, I made sauce."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And my wife makes my favorite meatballs ever.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
That she just got from a recipe. There's like no secret.
Right.
Just somehow she's got the touch.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know
Just
what you
fool
mean.
around with it. You take an ingredient, a little less of this, a little more of that, until you eventually get it exactly the way everybody's happy.
Yeah, I'm not a good cook. I don't know much about that. Is Dave a good cook? Are you a good cook? Pierogies, okay. The boss, Dave Kuzminski. Yeah, I just never thought about it. I'm not much of a cook. But yeah, that's cool. All right. So, like, what's next for you? You want to wrap it up, or you have anything else you want to?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm cool. Anything you want to talk about. If you want to talk about something else,
I could talk
I'm into
forever.
Mountain biking. I'm into doing all kinds of other stuff. It's not really music related.
Yeah.
Music related. I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
And
loving life.
I've got a little more time. Maybe I'll do, some more recording with Chris.
Yeah.
He wants to do a song here, a song there.
Yeah.
Just for fun. And
yeah.
And we did one already. That's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. What'd you do?
We did. It was an Ozzy song. Sato, Sato.
I don't know that.
It's
one.
off of the Diary of a Madman.
Yeah, I don't know that.
The good Ozzy.
Yeah, I wasn't a real metalhead back in the day, so I missed a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
But, it's the way it goes. I'll get caught up again one of these days. All right. Well, you know what? What's so funny? The boss is laughing at me. The peanut gallery's laughing. All right. Well, you know what? You want to wrap it up?
So let's wrap it up.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right. I feel like I'm not sure what to really talk about too much, because I don't know. I don't know what we can get into without insulting anybody, or I don't want to talk about bands that I don't like. I mean,
what's his bass rig look?
What?
His bass rig.
Your bass rig. Talk about your bass rig.
Okay. My bass rig is now, after years of trial and error,
Sure.
I finally got something that I just absolutely love. So I just got a couple years ago, I got an Aguilar 700 watt
Okay.
AG 700 head that basically you just plug into it. Everything could just be set straight up. 12 o'clock, doesn't matter. It's going to sound good.
Really?
And it's the best bass head I've ever played through.
Wow.
And then I have a big Ampeg 6x10 cabinet.
Sure.
Most people downsize. I wanted to, go a little larger, and because I wanted to elevate my high end.
Sure.
Because if I have a little
Right.
4x10,
Right.
all that sound's going out
Totally.
past me, and I can't hear it most of the time.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I carry that around.
That's cool.
And play Spectre. I have a Spectre bass.
Nice.
I fell in love with that. Before that, I had a bass. It was a Yamaha TRB. I had it for probably 25 years.
Wow.
So if I find something I like, I stick with it.
Sure. Yeah.
So
Why not? We all do that.
But
Right?
That's about it for gear.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Say what? Oh boy. Okay. Now why aren't we miking you up?
Yeah,
Dave is running an interview.
Yeah.
Dave wants to know how many basses you have.
I have two.
Really?
Well, I have
more basses than you do.
I have
and I don't even play
three.
bass.
One doesn't count. One's in my office. It's a Tysco
Okay.
1967. Drives like a truck.
Mm.
It's just to hang on the wall. But I have a Fender jazz bass that I use as a backup. And every time I pick it up to play, I intend to play more than 3 songs, and then 3 songs later, I'm switching back to the Spectre.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why the neck, the small neck, or you're not feeling it?
It feels different. It's like a Ford Mustang. The Fender's a Ford Mustang, and then the Spectre's more like an Aston Martin.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so much more response.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nicer
I hear.
feeling.
Yeah. I guess when you get used to that's your voice.
If I didn't know, if I picked each one up, I probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference. But now that I know his tolerances and I know what I feel,
Yep.
then that's when you spend the money and get what you want.
I know. I fell into a trap. I don't know how much you know about drums, but I have somebody. Actually, it was the concert snare in my junior high. I acquired it somehow. Somebody was getting rid of their stuff, and I ended up with it. and it's 15. So it's, standard snare drum is 14 in diameter. It's a 15 by 8.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I can't get rid of it, because once you cross over into that big fat sound,
yeah,
you can't go back.
Right.
And you go back to a regular drum and you're like, where's the beef?
Right.
And I'm stuck with that thing now. And it completely changed the way I play, and I can't go back.
Well, it changed it in a good way.
Oh yeah.
So you don't want to go back.
Well, it depends on the gig. Sometimes the gigs that I was playing, it's fine, because it's like really laid back and kind of slow. It doesn't respond that quick. But like if I was going to play like a snappy funk gig, I would have to not play that snare.
Is it affected by the room much?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
it muddier?
Oh yeah. Well, you know what's cool about it is because it's so big and kind of chesty sounding.
Yeah.
I can really smack it, and it doesn't get right in your face like other snare drums. So I don't have to, I can play it loud, and it just goes doosh.
Yeah.
It doesn't snap and pop the way other snare drums do.
Huh.
So it's kind of cool,
So it's like a Alex Van Halen type of snare, almost like a tom.
It sounds like Stan Lynch from the Tom Petty.
Oh, okay.
Doosh, that kind of sound.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun to play, but I can't get out of it.
See, I don't like drummers that use that sound. So, see, this definitely won't work.
Yeah, this isn't going to work. Yeah, sorry. Oh, well. Yeah, well, it's a weird sound. But that's what I mean.
I'm only kidding.
I know. That's fine. It's a hard sound to get out of, and I don't have an exit strategy from that sound at this point, because I'm gonna anyway. Who cares? But that's my thing with the snares. But I figured it out. I have 4 bass guitars, and I don't even really play bass that well. Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's weird how that happened.
You have nice ones?
No. I have an old Yamaha Roadstar, which I bought. Yeah, which I bought in the 90s. It's whatever. And then I have a
Those are awesome.
No, they're not.
That one's not. Those
really? I thought you were being sarcastic.
No.
Oh, really?
No, I would love to get a hold of them.
Really?
One of those. Yeah. That's
I'll bring it around.
It's like a collector's item. Bass players love
those. Are you
those.
serious?
Well, I'm not saying it's worth 10 grand or anything like that, but bass players love those.
Wow.
I loved those back then.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bought it used in the 90s from a friend.
Yeah. Sting started out on one of those, and then he switched over to Spectre.
Wow.
And that was a pretty popular bass because it
I didn't know that.
It plays pretty well. I mean, I don't know what you have for pickups and stuff like that, but I mean, that's a pretty desirable collector's bass.
I'll have to get that one out. That's the one that's just like tucked away. Yeah. I don't even have that one out. And then my next bass was an Epiphone Thunderbird.
Mm-hmm.
A Thunderbird Goth.
Yeah.
It's like all black.
Yep.
And it's cool. I mean, for me, Epiphone was fine. And then I tried to buy, because I'm lefty and I play upside down lefty.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I wanted something. I wanted the Thunderbird because the body's flipped anyway. So when you hold it upside down, it doesn't look wrong.
Do you switch the strings, or do you play them?
I play them righty.
Oh, wow.
Wrong. Totally wrong.
Well, that's cool, though. There was a guy named Paul that used to work for Brian Guitars.
Mm-hmm.
That used to play.
I remember that guy.
And he just totally flipped it around, and he didn't bother restringing it, and it was the coolest thing. And
that's how I play. Yeah.
You can hear a difference in the way. I mean, maybe I've never heard you play, but I've always been able to hear the difference in the way somebody like that plays. There's another bass player that's pretty famous. I can't think of his name, but he plays like that, and he does a lot of funk.
Yeah.
And you would think
that's
slapping and
thing.
popping would be difficult, but the way he does it, it just sounds so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I play like that all wrong. So I was looking for something symmetrical. So I bought an EB1 copy, like an Epiphone.
Yeah.
It's symmetric. It was supposed to look like an SG.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it only had a bridge pickup.
Yeah.
So I just didn't, or actually only the neck pickup. So it was too. I didn't realize it only had one pickup because I don't play bass.
We used to have that. That was our high school band bass,
and
Ed Corvo used to play the crap out of it.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
So I traded him that. I got an Epiphone Hofner copy, Paul McCartney Hofner copy.
Yeah.
That's symmetrical. So I gave him the EB1 copy. I took the
Ed Corvo.
Yeah.
How coincidental is that I just brought
Yeah,
Ed's
I
name
know.
up,
That's what I'm saying.
talking about the high school bass, and
Yeah.
you actually traded that to Ed.
I did.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is it's funny. Yeah. Well, Ed, so it always comes back to Ed Corvo.
Everything
Yeah,
comes
pretty
back to
much.
Ed.
Yeah. So I put flat wounds on that.
Yep.
And kept round wounds. And then I just bought, Dave had, one day I came in here and it was a Yamaha acoustic bass. Like, I'm going to go on Unplugged.
Yeah.
And it was, it looked like a giant ukulele. It was perfectly symmetrical.
Huh.
It was so cool. And I bought it from Dave, and 2 weeks later it got stolen and I never saw it again.
Oh, wow.
So in my mind, and then you go, good luck finding one. I look on eBay.
Ed Corvo probably has it.
Yeah, he probably has it. Yeah. And so I always checked on Reverb, and just like a couple months ago, one came up, somebody like dropped it and it's cracked along the bottom, and they were like blowing it out for $150. I'm like, snurched, I'll take that.
Nice.
So I got back to where I was like 4 years ago. So finally I'm back up to 4 basses, and I'm just a lousy bass player, but whatever.
Well, now I have a question for
Yes.
you. If you're left-handed
Mm-hmm.
and you pick up a bass for the first time, what makes you want to play it lefty and not play righty? Like
I didn't know you could.
If you don't know what it's supposed to feel like, why wouldn't you be able to just play it like a right-handed person with your right hand plucking and left hand on the neck?
I don't know, because when I play air guitar, I go like this.
Yeah.
So I don't know where I learned that.
Because I always wonder
drums
why
all wrong,
left-handed
too.
people start playing a left-handed instrument when they don't know the difference anyway.
No.
It's not like swinging a bat.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
Maybe it is.
I don't know. I mean, I started off, I wanted to be a bass player before I wanted to be a drummer.
Yeah.
So I started off making bass guitars out of cardboard and jumping around the house, and it was always lefty.
Right.
I don't know how that happens.
Because I mean,
You got to ask Eddie.
Well, Ed had a hard time because he would play left-handed, and he'd never be able to try anything out because he'd never be able to walk into a store and find a left-handed guitar. So he'd order stuff and not even know.
Yeah.
That had to have been scary.
It happens. Yeah.
Well, I think now, well, not now, but Guitar Center probably had a supply of left-handed guitars
By now.
recently. But back then, there was nothing.
That happens.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's the tale of my 4 basses. I have more basses than I have drum kits. Go figure. Who cares? Not me. It just happened.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? Let's wrap it up.
Okay.
We go home to some nice sauce. Maybe. When's the last time?
Yeah, probably not tonight.
Okay.
I already ate.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? Joe Martin was here. Let the record show.
Thank you for having me.
We have it all. Yeah, absolutely. We'll do this again. When we hang out a little more, we'll have more to talk about. I just, I didn't know. I wasn't too prepared. You know what I mean? Say what?
No, you don't want me and Greg at the same time.
No.
We don't want the Greg and Joe show.
Oh, really?
Unless you really want the Greg and Joe show.
I don't know if I do. Do I?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't know if you can handle the Greg and Joe show.
You'd be surprised. Just luckily, Lancia didn't show up.
Oh.
I half expected that. We got to get him up here one of these days. Or not.
Well, I'm sure it could be done.
I'm sure it can be. All right. Joe Martin was here. This was the Jon Peckman Podcast, coming to you from the podcast studio of Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance in beautiful downtown Portland, Connecticut. Come over the bridge, start looking left, right?
Right.
Adios. Well, yeah, let me rephrase that. Start looking
Correct.
left.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
Correct. Joe Martin. That's him, boys and girls. Thanks a lot for listening. We see you next time. Right? The Jon Peckman Podcast. Excellent work. Thank you. Talk to you soon.